Hey guys, it's Bridget with San Diego Seed Company, and it's December and we're in the garden and it's time for our December garden tour. So we're gonna look around and I'm gonna show you what our garden looks like and kind of give you some information about what you should know for your garden in December in zone 9 and 10. And also just prance around the garden and look at how pretty things are. Despite the fact that I have a tiny child and everything's super chaotic, somehow the garden still looks pretty darn good. So I'm proud of myself. Now before I get into it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified anytime we put out a video. So it's December and we're in the garden and things are super chaotic because I'm just trying to keep up with everything that's going on right now. But despite that, things look pretty good, and I have to give it to myself. It's because I've put in a lot of time and energy into the soil and the infrastructure in my garden. So I have good irrigation, which makes a big difference, and I have good soil, which means things can kind of grow without a lot of my help managing them all the time. We've got here, this is some peppers that I know look absolutely terrible, but this is on purpose because I'm going to overwinter them. These are a Texas Longhorn peppers. They're an amazing pepper that gets really big. And instead of ripping them out, I'm gonna leave them in and I will trim them back and they will regrow beautifully in the spring, and I'm not gonna waste all that time and energy starting them from seed again. If you're in zone 9 and 10, it's very easy to do that. We even do that at our Ramona farm, which is kind of crazy because it gets way hotter and way colder there. We just use row cover to protect them, and about 90% of our pepper plants out there will overwinter, which is really cool. The other project I've been working on are my potted plants here. You know, with an infant, I've realized that it's really hard to get all the way down to the ground when he's strapped to you and he's 20 pounds. So having pots is really helpful because it's a little bit closer to me and it's a little bit easier for weed management. So I've got some of my favorite lettuces here and my herbs that I use regularly in the garden. And these were very easy to plant. I had really good soil left over from when I planted my dahlias. I pulled my dahlias out and just mixed the soil up a little bit. I tossed some seeds on top, put a little bit of finely sifted soil, covered it with row cover, bam. These things germinated very quickly. I also have my ranunculuses. These are starting to germinate. That's what these little guys are. They look like celery, but it's ranunculus flowers. Really excited for all those beautiful blooms. Those will be a great cut flower this spring. What else do I have going on? I have my gorgeous red flowered favas. So these are a really unique, rare fava that we were gifted just a handful of seeds, and we've been working over the years to increase that quantity of seed that we have, and we just finally put some packets online for sale. What's amazing about these is they're super ornamental. They're absolutely beautiful, but they're also a very short, easy to grow fava. You get fava beans that you can eat, and then they also help make the soil better, and you get tons of biomaterial that you can use in your compost, or if you wanted to, you could till this back in when they're a lot smaller. Now keep in mind, if you want to grow favas or any cover crop, which is what this is considered, for nitrogen fixing, there's two important parts to that. One, you need to till them in or take them out before they make their beans, because those beans are going to pull energy from the soil. And you need to inoculate. There's an inoculant that you can buy online. Basically, it's a very specific strain of bacteria that your soil may or may not have. I can't guarantee it. And if it isn't there, then the process of fixing nitrogen, leaving nitrogen in the soil, won't actually happen. Now, regardless of whether or not you're growing these to fix nitrogen, or you're growing them to eat, or you're growing them for the bees, because you can see, look, tons of bees on these flowers. They're also just really beautiful, and in a time of the year where you may be kind of at a loss for what to grow, these are a fabulous, easy to direct seed crop that looks great in the garden. The other thing that we've got growing that just started to pop up is these are our shallots. We offered shallots this year, which I'm really excited about, and I've got them growing here. I love shallots. I use them pretty much in every recipe. In the beginning, chop them up, a little bit of olive oil, garlic. That's how I start pretty much every recipe.
What does it sound like when you chop?
Now, the garden Doesn't look amazing this year because I am just, it's that time of my life where things are a little chaotic, but I did spend plenty of time intercropping. So I've got lots of beautiful ornamentals, everything from marigolds to, I've got some cosmos down there. And why? Because it looks great. It's gorgeous. I have a diverse garden, which I really like, and I want to see flowers alongside all of my vegetables. I love vegetables, but I also want a little something for the birds and the bees and for me to enjoy. So I've taken time to plant tons of different flowers in here. A lot of these calendulas are actually just volunteers from the previous years. In fact, when you look down the drip line, you can see all kinds of flowers that I didn't plant. They're popping up because we did seed production. This is actually straw flower, so it's that plant right there that's starting to pop up. There's calendula, there's other marigolds, there's cosmos, there's amaranth. They're all popping up because I have irrigation. If you don't have irrigation in zone 9 and 10, you're not going to get plants that naturally pop up because we don't get enough rainfall. The other thing I'm doing in my garden right now is I'm waiting for my cabbages to mature. Now, I've gotten this comment from so many people. They say, why is my garden not doing anything this time of year? What can I do? There's really nothing you can do. The days are short, the weather is cooler, so the activity in the soil is really slow right now, and everything is growing very stagnantly. There's nothing you can do. As the days get longer, that will change. I'm waiting for these to become bigger so that I can harvest them. And you could tell there's tons of damage on them, but I don't care. They're big enough that they're going to be able to fend off what little bit of damage there is. See, there's some like snail damage here. Guess what? I want beautiful organic cabbage, and I'm going to chop it up finely anyway, so I don't care that it doesn't look absolutely perfect. Now, if these were much smaller, this much damage could be enough to actually kill them, but they're big enough and they're robust enough that it doesn't really matter. Something I want to show you that's really cool is if you look at this garden and you look over here and you follow the cabbage down the line, what do you notice? They're all getting smaller. Why? Because it's the hours of sunlight that they're getting. These were all these cabbages were planted at the exact same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is much bigger than that one because of the way that the sun moves across my garden. This one probably gets maybe an hour more of sunlight, maybe 2 hours. So as you go down, they get smaller and smaller. You can see the exact same thing with my arugula. You can see the arugula here is much bigger, and these were direct seeded at the exact same time. As you go down the line, it gets smaller and smaller because of the shadow from the greenhouse, which we have behind you. So you can do a quick little, that greenhouse. It shadows my garden a little bit. So keep that in mind this time of year, long shadows. Your garden's going to be growing very slowly. There's nothing you can do except spend time enjoying the garden, planning for next year, and spending energy picking out your seed varieties, shopping early because a lot of our varieties will sell out quickly because we produce very small amounts of them, reading garden blogs, being part of garden education, signing up for our Growing Together membership so that you can get education underneath your belt and make next year as productive and as beautiful in the garden as possible. So what is thriving in my garden right now in December? Well, if you look around and you look at all the things that look big and beautiful, they're all kind of the same type of plant. They're all leafy greens. That's because in December, we're in the cool season, and the things that do well in the cool season are leafy greens or brassicas. So we have these gorgeous bok choys that look amazing. They're a leafy green. We have Ethiopian kale, which if you haven't had it, delicious. We have all of my brassicas, my broccoli, my cabbage, my cauliflower. I have some really gorgeous looking heads of iceberg lettuce, which I know you're probably thinking iceberg lettuce, but I'm telling you, growing iceberg lettuce in your garden, the flavor is out of this world compared to the flavorless, watery stuff that you get at a grocery store. Take this head, slice it in half, put some bacon bits on it and a good crumbled blue cheese. Mwah! So good. So if you haven't grown iceberg lettuce in the garden, I do recommend it. But again, this is a leafy green. My arugula looks great. That's also a leafy green. All of these crops like the shorter days and the cooler temperatures. They're gonna thrive right now. because they are in season. So the last thing that I want to remind you for your December garden, and also just your cool season garden in general, is make sure you get your flowers in. Growing flowers this time of the year is really easy because the temperatures are cool. They'll get really nice deep root systems. And in particular, things like sweet peas, you want to plant them now, because if you wait until the spring, you're not going to get a big enough plant to support the massive amount of blooms that you want for something like sweet pea flowers. So these were actually planted about a month ago. They look amazing, and they're just gonna grow very slowly for the next month or two, and then as the days get longer, their growth pattern will start to increase. They'll grow a lot quicker. They'll start to grow up this trellis, and then by April, this will be covered in blooms, and it will look amazing. So I wanna know from you guys what you're growing in your December garden, or what you're growing at all in the garden. Drop a comment below and let me know, what are you thinking about? What are you excited about? I'm a little out of the loop these days with the little one and everything we have going on. So what should we be carrying that you're really excited about? Or what are you growing in the garden that you can't find very easily? Let us know so we can start to think about carrying in our catalog for you.
Did you get that? She said, let us know.
Aha, that was totally awesome and not planned.